Linda Hirsch.
I'm Jim Carney, and this is EdCast, a program created and produced by educators for everyone interested in education.
New York City continues to grapple with failing schools, high dropout rates, and poor student academic performance. At EdCast, we've examined a variety of approaches to addressing these problems. Today, we look at another avenue of success, one that relies on the power of paint to affect student change. Publicolor is a comprehensive learning model that seeks to change not only a school's physical environment, but also the attitudes of the students within its walls. Today, founder Ruth Shuman and members of her staff join me to talk about how Publicolor transforms schools and students' lives.
And later on in the program, I'll take paintbrush and paint can in hand, and I'll join some students as they colorize their school. But first, we've joined Linda and her guest in the studio.
My guests today are Ruth Shuman, the founder and president of Publicolor, and Cara Spitzer, the Paint Club and Community Relations Manager. Welcome to EdCast, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
What is Publicolor, and how did it get started?
Publicolor is a design-based youth development program that engages disconnected students in their education through a continuum of programs. And we start with our gateway program, which is Paint Club, which involves disengaged students and teaches them how to paint, commercial painting, how to paint all the public spaces of their schools, and introducing warm colors and good design to cold, institutional, somewhat depressing environments. And then we move our students through a continuum of programs so that we can stay with them for a number of years. Change does not happen overnight, and our programs are all aimed at college and career readiness.
When you began Publicolor, what made you think that the concepts of painting and color would be important?
In another lifetime, I had helped start the Big Apple Circus and helped develop it, and got to see a number of middle schools in East Harlem and was appalled by how prison-like they all looked and felt. And at the same time, I was getting my master's in industrial design at Pratt and was specializing in the psychological effect of color. And that's when the light bulb went on. I realized if I put a paintbrush in the hands of disengaged students, I'd be able to involve them in their education. And I did a lot of research. There's a lot of research.
What is some of that research that
Well, there's
talks
just a
about?
lot of research that confirms that color impacts attitudes and behavior, and differently. I mean, some colors can cause people to be depressed. Some colors can cause people to be very angry and agitated. Others can help people feel happier, can actually encourage concentration. And we try to use those colors that obviously help with concentration, but also that are warm and welcoming.
Now, in terms of the schools, can you just give us a kind of an overview, the numbers of schools that are involved, the ages of the kids who get involved in your program?
So we've painted almost 200 middle and high schools all over New York City. And we have a criteria that we select schools that are in neighborhoods that are under-resourced and underserved. And then we look at the profile of the school, and we also talk to the principal about what the challenges are. So most of our schools have above an 80% rate of young people in poverty. We also look at attendance rates. We look at, we look at test scores. We look at the environment survey that the DOE puts out about how people feel about their safety and how parents feel coming into the building. And then we sit with every principal that we work with, and we ask them what their biggest challenges are.
What would be the youngest age group that would join the paint club?
7th grade.
7th grade, okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what paint club is in terms of number of times kids are involved? When do they do it?
Sure, we work, we have semesters, so we're in each school a minimum of 3 months for one semester, and we're there 5 days a week, after school, Tuesday through Friday, and then all day Saturday. And Saturday, I say, is like a painting party, because we play good music, we eat good food, we have corporate volunteers that paint alongside the paint clubbers, and then also our apprentices that are in the continuum that Ruth was talking about. And so we spend a lot of time with the young people, and we are specifically targeting the young people in that school that are not involved in any after-school activities. You know, so kids who feel that they don't really belong in sports or music for whatever reason.
The ones who are most at risk of dropping out, we always ask the principal to help us identify those students.
Let's take a look at some before and after photos of some of what the kids and you have done. So maybe you can tell us a little about what we're looking at, and we can just see what they're like. Okay, what's here?
Okay, this is a playground. This came out of a invitation by the mayor's office for us to be a lead partner in their Totally Cool Roof program, which is white coating rooftops. And we decided instead of rooftops, we wanted to go into school playgrounds and work with overaged, undercredited students, and that became the basis of our Paint Club Plus program. And what we did, I designed that. We design science and math-based graphics and embed them in the overall design so that children can learn while they're playing. And I mean, these playgrounds, this is a Fibonacci series, which I just adore, mathematical series, and lined up, colored, the different colors, isn't that gorgeous? The different colors of the spectrum. So again, there's a lot to learn, and you can use these, you know, for all kinds of games, but also as outdoor classrooms for math, science, and art teachers. And, you know, these cost like max $10,000, whereas a playground with equipment costs $200,000. This is the locker room at DeWitt Clinton High School. This is, I think their cafeteria, DeWitt Clinton. And
Wow.
That's not a terrible before, but
But it's a more vibrant after.
but it is a more vibrant after. But you know, there's research that supports our use of a few colors. I don't like to use a lot of colors, but if you use 2 or 3, 4 colors max in a space, you stimulate the eye. And when you stimulate the eye, you stimulate the brain, a part of the brain. And something else that we discovered, what surprised me is that overwhelmingly, teachers and students reported feeling safer in a public colored school.
That's very
And
interesting.
then I learned from a neuroscientist from Harvard that the perception of fear releases cortisol in the brain, and cortisol, and that blocks the formation of working memory. And working memory is what we use to read.
So you can't think when you're really stressed out.
Precisely. And so we now say, with minds no longer frozen by fear, teachers can teach, students can learn.
Now, why do you think this particular program, and we're going to talk in a few minutes about some of the other components, why do you think it has been especially effective with the kinds of kids that you've been involving in the program, the ones who may be disadvantaged or disengaged? Why do you think this particular program has been so helpful for them?
First of all, it's kinesthetic learning. And it's active, it's creative. The kids feel that they are getting to express themselves. It's an applied learning model.
I know you mentioned that on the Saturday program, adults come, corporate people come to work with the kids. This idea of these children having the chance to talk with other adults, do you think that plays a part in some of the program's effectiveness?
I think that's huge. I think the more opportunities young people can have to have high-level conversations with adults really is a huge factor in, you know, their ability to be successful in school, and then also, you know, in the world of work. And it also changes the dynamic where the kids are teaching the adult and modeling for them how to paint.
Right.
And so, you know, it's this beautiful exchange where the young person feels empowered and like they have a voice, which rarely happens in our schools. And you know, they might be teaching the CEO of, you know, Citibank or Morgan Stanley and not even know it, because everybody's wearing painting clothes and we all are part of one big team that are, you know, doing a project together.
Yeah,
I want to just interject one thing, and that is that also research shows that it's these high-level conversations that are more indicative of better performance at school than the students' family income level.
So that maybe would give credence to mentoring programs in general, where students
Absolutely.
get to talk to other adults who take an
Absolutely.
interest in them.
Absolutely.
When students graduate the paint club, I know you have a next phase
Yeah.
called the color club. So what is that about?
It's a 3-day-a-week minimum, 3-day-a-week program, because when I started Color Club, I wanted to make sure that we were a force greater than the street. The street has a huge influence on our kids, and so they need to be with us. And so they come to us 1 day a week for career exposure and life skill workshops, 1 day a week for tutoring, and 1 day a week they're painting in the schools and in nearby under-resourced community facilities.
So here's where you have a really comprehensive approach in
Yeah.
terms of addressing what their needs are. Now, I know you have other components, but what do you think the students get out of being in the color club? Is this for all students after paint club, or for
No, unfortunately, I wish we could afford to take all students, but we can't.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it becomes a funnel.
Now, after the color club, you also have something called Next Steps. And what's that? How is that?
Same 3-day-a-week model, but it's strictly career and college prep. And that program also hosts 2 multi-campus tours a year, multi-day tours a year, so that our students get to experience a wide variety of colleges. And they learn a lot of interview skills and job preparedness, as well as we help them identify what colleges to apply to. We help them apply for financial aid. We raise money for a scholarship fund so that we have 76 students in college now, and every single one has a gap scholarship from us.
Great.
To help fill the gap between financial aid and the
Now,
real cost.
Jim Carney had the opportunity to visit one of your schools and watch painting in progress. So let's take a look.
MS 80, the Isabel Rooney School in the Mosholu Parkway section of the Bronx, is undergoing improvements, and these improvements are being done by the students themselves. I spoke with Principal Emmanuel Planco, who told me about the school.
So MS80 is a very diverse school. We have kids from all over the world. We have about 30-35% English language learners with students from South America, the Caribbean, you know, we got even Asian students. So we have a very diverse population, and we kind of all meet in activities like this. All the different languages, the different ethnic backgrounds all come, you know, they're put to the side, and we actually are doing something that we can all relate to, which is painting walls.
With the help of the nonprofit organization Publicolor and suppliers and supporters like Benjamin Moore Paint, students are learning the art and craft of painting.
During the week, they learn the basic commercial painting and the skills when it comes to taping, prepping the painting site, the area, papering, priming, you know, cutting and rolling.
Cutting is getting in between all the areas where the roller can't get to. So you see this lip right here? If we use the roller's going to get it, but it won't quite get all of the space. There's going to be a little bit of space left. So with the brush, we use the brush to just paint the areas where the roller's not going to be able to get to.
It's important to bring kids together just to, first of all, let them take ownership of their school, let them feel that, you know, this is their school, and part of it being their school is contributing to what color the walls are, what things we put, what kind of improvements we make to the school. So they're actually seeing that kind of work and participating in that kind of work here with this kind of program.
How many rolls of tape do you think we buy for one school? For your school, how many rolls of tape we're going to buy? 20? 50? Tim, how many rolls of tape are we gonna buy?
70 rolls of tape there, you right.
70 so far, and we just started 2 weeks ago. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on tape, and that's why we use these tiny little pieces like that.
What are you doing?
Well, what I'm doing here is that I'm taping this side so that when we are painting this, we won't paint on this.
It's fun because all the time, like for example, when you color in the book, like art, it's the same thing as just painting the whole room. It's in reality. Just painting the paper is the same thing as just painting the thing, painting the whole building.
What's the value of a program like we're seeing here with the painting program?
Well, there are a lot of kids who are interested in art and painting. For example, one of my students, he's very interested in painting. Once he heard about the program, he was very excited about it. He gets to do what he wants to do after school, and they're doing it for the school. They're learning how to work together. They're learning the school building is a community, and we're all a part of the same building.
I mean, I think it's beneficial. It's always beneficial because as they grow older, they're going to need these skills. So I just painted my house the other day and I had no clue what was going on, what I needed to be doing. So it's always beneficial for their future.
And I just try to do it along here. Is that right?
Yeah, but you gotta hold it like a pencil.
Oh, like a pencil.
Like a pencil.
Okay.
And then you just brush.
Okay. Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This time.
Okay. Very
Okay,
cool.
now-
Learning to paint at MS 80 in the
Do
Bronx.
this one, okay?
I'm Jim Carney. Now back to Lande with her guests in the
Like
studio.
a pencil, right? Okay.
Why do you think this act of engaging in the painting, and it certainly looks like fun, why do you think it is so engaging and so important for the kids? I mean, what would your program be like if you didn't do the painting and you just did the college prep classes? What does this add to it that is missing from other programs?
I think in the first place, it gives the kids a sense of belonging. We create a community where oftentimes none ever existed in that school. Deep friendships come out of Paint Club. As I mentioned earlier, this is hands-on learning, and it's physical. To say nothing of the fact that I believe very strongly that when you change an environment, you change attitudes and behavior. Uniquely, 100% of our students' work impacts 100% of the school community. No other organization can say that. So I think these are huge benefits, to say nothing of the changed environment.
No, I was going to say, I also think for many of them, it's the first time that someone's given them the opportunity to put this huge project in front of them and say, I know this seems really overwhelming. We're going to paint your entire school in 3 months, but we're going to break it down into smaller, steps, and we're going to
logical sequence.
A logical sequence, and we're going to, teach you all the skills that you need to get it done, and we're going to support you throughout the whole process. And telling a 7th grader that they get to pick the colors for their school, first they don't believe you, and then when they see, and then when we let them pick, then they see it's for real. There's this, like Ruth was saying, this sense of community and ownership over this project that, it just didn't exist before.
And empowerment.
And empowerment,
I mean,
absolutely.
the fact that these youngsters get to choose the color combinations, they create the color combinations that we ultimately post for a school-wide vote. That's huge. And these youngsters are rarely, if ever, asked their opinion about anything. And we're constantly asking for their vote, so to speak. And it's a real active lesson in civics.
And it seems that you stay with them. So then,
Very much so.
So we talked about the Color Club, we talked about Next Steps. I know you have another component that I thought especially interesting because of the summer slump.
Yeah.
When kids are away from school, we've noticed that their reading goes back, their math skills. What do you offer them to kind of help them not fall behind?
Very proud of that, I have to tell you, and I'm glad you brought it up. It's called Summer Design Studio. It's a 7-week, 5-day-a-week literacy and math immersion program that we teach through the scaffold of product design. And we deliberately hold this on Pratt's campus. Pratt donates the space, and we deliberately hold it there because we want our students to feel like they belong on a college campus. And we feed them a healthy breakfast, a healthy lunch, and then afternoons they're always painting under-resourced community facilities.
So they move beyond their school and they go out to the community
And in
now.
the summer, it's oftentimes city-owned homeless shelters.
Wow.
Which is really, I love doing that work.
So again, you really stay with them.
Yes, I believe in that. You know, I tell the kids when they join Color Club, I tell them it's a life sentence.
Now, what kind, in terms of the research, by the way, they're learning how to paint. Do any of them go on to use this
Yes,
skill
I
of
love
painting
that you asked
to
that.
actually paint? I mean, I would think that
Something like 65,
a credential, I mean.
65% of our kids apparently use the commercial painting skills we teach them to help defray college costs.
Wow.
And we teach them that painting is a recession-proof skill.
That's right.
Painting is also a skill that you can't outsource.
Right.
You know, other people will always need painters, and even if they only just use it to paint their own houses, then that's saving them money, you know, from the beginning. So.
Well, believe it or not, almost running out of time, so I have a few things I wanted to ask you. Have you been able to do any follow-up in a school that you've left to kind of see? I mean, I guess my question is, if you were involved in the painting, then that's very meaningful for you, but when that cohort moves out of the school, what happens to the new cohort that comes into the school that may not have been involved in the painting? What effect does this have on them, if any?
Okay, that's interesting because we're now doing a study with Liz Reisner
I
from
think that way.
Policy Studies Associates. Well, we do too.
Yeah.
We want to know more.
I can see the environmental difference will always be there. That will always have an impact.
Yeah, we want to measure that somehow. And I mean, what we've found out from pre and post surveys is that 90% of teachers surveyed report having higher expectations of their paint club students after seeing them productively involved in a school-wide initiative.
Very important because
Huge.
we all feel that students try to meet our expectations, be they high or low.
Exactly.
So if you have higher expectations,
I
of
mean,
the
to
student-
me,
it
that's
also shows
the
you
key.
then we look at our students, we don't give them enough credit, that we don't see what their
That's right.
potential is, and what you're trying to say is that they're able to demonstrate.
And that's a change in the school culture that doesn't just go away after we're done painting. You know, a lot of principals will, like the school that, you know, your colleague was painting with us at, is one where there's a new principal. The school has kind of gotten a bad rap, but they are trying to turn it around and really, you know, bring positivity into the building. And that's not going to leave after Paint Club leaves. That's a sense of pride that will stay in that school community for years.
In the less than a minute that we have left, what have each of you learned then about how students learn and how they can succeed as a result of Publicolor?
I'll say something a little bit more general, and that is that I really see every youngster as walking potential. And I think as a country we're sitting on gold. And we're wasting so much when we do not give especially low-income students the benefit of the doubt. And we must not write them off. They have huge, huge potential, and we're living proof of it. I mean, last year, 85% of our high-risk students graduated high school on time versus something like 47% citywide. And 89% of our students go on to post-secondary education, some kind, versus something like 45% citywide. We have a college retention rate of 92% versus 35% nationwide for a similar demographic. So I think we're just proof positive that our youngsters have so much potential, and it's our job as adults in this society to help them realize it.
Cara, last thought?
I would say just the power of being a positive force in a young person's life and building a support system and a network and teaching kids to ask for help when they need it and to trust adults and to build a community both in their school but also outside of after school providers and other supporters is huge. It makes all the difference in getting them to where they want to be. They need that guidance, and so that's
You have a
what we
wonderful
do.
website as well that I invite people to go and take a look at, your Publicolor website.
Thank
and
you.
I thank you both for joining me today to talk about a really exciting program that I think has a lot of stuff going on that maybe we can come back and talk about some more at another time.
That would be
This is
great.
A wonderful program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with our Ed Bites. Welcome back to this edition of Ed Bites.
What do Americans see as priorities in improving education? Ed Week reports on a survey released by the Friedman Foundation for Educational Choice, indicating that Americans view smaller class sizes and technology as more important than reforms such as vouchers and teacher merit pay. Participants ranked the most effective school reform efforts as smaller class sizes, technology, accountability, vouchers, teachers' unions, merit pay for teachers, and a longer school day in that order. They also ranked the state of American public education as between poor and fair.
In her blog on the Huffington Post, educator Barbara Levy offers 8 easy homework tips for all parents. 1. Use after-school snack time to talk and ask questions about the school day. If you're not at home, leave a snack and a note with a daily question. 2. Designate a homework corner. 3. Have a once-a-week review night. 4. Be well supplied. 5. Insist the world stops for homework. No checking phones or social media. 6. Create rules and make sure the children are part of them. 7. Manage the family calendar. And 8. Don't forget playtime.
An article on the website Good by Sean Johnson asks if public school reforms championed by Secretary Arne Duncan are so good, why aren't America's elite prep schools following them? He observes that the Common Core standards, data-driven instruction, and high-stakes tests are not key components of America's elite private schools. The schools do provide art, music, and physical education, as well as teachers with advanced degrees. With parents at these schools paying top dollar for the best education, Johnson observes how few of the reforms proposed for our public schools are in evidence here.
As we have long suspected, research confirms that using baby talk builds a child's language skills. One-on-one baby talk using exaggerated vowel sounds and elevated voice pitch improves children's current and future language development. So don't be shy about engaging in baby talk and sounding as silly as you like.
Well, that does it for this edition of EdCast. Bye-bye.
Until next time, class dismissed.